Welcome to SVG-TV News for Tuesday, December 17th, 2024. I am Jennifer Richardson with the details. A three-day gun intelligence workshop is being hosted here by the CARICOM Implementation Agency for Crime and Security, CARICOM Impacts. Crime Gun Intelligence Unit, CCGU, in collaboration with the Ministry of National Security and the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force, the RSVGPF. The workshop is part of a regional series organized by CARICOM Impacts to raise awareness among stakeholders about the proliferation and use of illegal firearms in the region, as well as strategies to address this critical issue. Addressing the opening ceremony this morning at the NIS conference room, Chair and Assistant Superintendent of Police Junior Simmons, he is Superintendent of Police, said the workshop is being held at a critical period given the current security challenges not only in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but the wider Caribbean region regarding gun-related offenses. Deputy Executive Director of CARICOM Impacts, Tonya Ayu, noted that since the operationalization of the Crime Gun Intelligence Unit, the CGIU, on June 5, 2023, they have seen a marked improvement in collaboration with member states on firearms-related events and investigations and enhanced coordination in case handling.
To date, the unit has received approximately 82 firearms-related reports from member states and from neighboring Caribbean islands who are not part of CARICOM, and we have developed and disseminated at least 20 intelligence packages. Most recently, quick action by the CGIU, the member states, and U.S. partners have led to the detention of a suspect upon their return to the United States and the reopening of previously dormant cases. There continues to be an increase in interception of firearms at the U.S. border, and within CARICOM member states, there's an increase in number of port and inland seizures involving firearms, ammunition, magazines, and component parts. And some may say that's not great, but it is a testament to the fact that there's better and enhanced intelligence cooperation, which leads to some of these seizures. Member states have increased the number of traces being done on the e-trace system, and there's greater information and intelligence sharing that is allowing the entities to identify networks.
Urging each member state to develop their own national crime gun intelligence unit, Ayo, who is a Trinidadian national, said the aim of the CGIU is to investigate, disrupt, and dismantle not only the firearms networks, but also the gangs networks.
With the continued support of member states and U.S. partners, CARICOM Impacts is confident that the unit will continue to grow and to serve you, the member states, and that these positive outcomes will increase with time and be sustained well into the future. It is our shared commitment to not only maintain operational support, but also to collaborate closely with our partners to enhance capabilities and capacities of the firearms units in the member states, and moreover, the investigative units in the region. The CGIU is designed to support this exchange. As many of you may be aware, officers from across the Caribbean have been seconded to this specialized unit. St. Vincent and the Grenadines was one of the first 3 countries to provide an officer to establish this unit. And on behalf of the Executive Director, I wish to extend our sincerest gratitude to you, Prime Minister, and your team for this support. The secondment program in general has proven to be a key contributor to capacity building in the region. Seconded officers, including those attached to the CGIU, acquire valuable skills at CARICOM Impacts. Already, some officers have begun to distinguish themselves as skilled intelligence analysts and investigators.
Representative of the U.S. Homeland Security Investigations and U.S. Embassy, Robert Marshall, said since its launch in 2023, the Crime Gun Intelligence Unit has swiftly become one of the most promising collaborative law enforcement efforts between the United States and CARICOM members.
Through the Caribbean Basin Security Initiative, the United States is proud to fund this initiative and deepen our shared commitment to security cooperation with the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. St. Vincent and the Grenadines and its neighbors in the Caribbean have made it abundantly clear that they are gravely concerned about the impact of firearms trafficking on their people. Transnational criminal groups and drug traffickers continue to proliferate small arms and ammunition throughout the Caribbean, threatening our collective security, undermining our regional stability, and driving irregular migration. By participating in the Crime Gun Intelligence Unit, officials like you have the tools to investigate and prosecute firearms traffickers who are actively endangering communities and citizens. Over the last 2 years, the United States has invested more than $2 million to help CARICOM stand up the Crime Gun Intelligence Unit. Through the CGIU, CARICOM members and U.S. experts are able to work side by side to share information in real time and are better positioned to solve crimes, disrupt criminal networks and trafficking rings, and ultimately prosecute offenders, whether in the United States or here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. 10 countries now submit information on firearm seizures to the CGIU. This workshop will enable you to participate actively in law enforcement cooperation and contribute valuable data to further law enforcement investigations here and across the Caribbean. These engagements show how the United States is working with our partners, both regionally and bilaterally, to address the leading security concerns and create a secure environment for communities and businesses in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Delivering the feature address at the opening ceremony of the workshop, St. Vincent and the Grenadines Minister of National Security and Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves pointed out that in light of the U.S. Constitution and the right to bear arms, it is unlikely that there will be any significant changes to America's gun laws. He stressed that these laws are primarily responsible for the proliferation of firearms circulating throughout the Caribbean region. As a result, Prime Minister Gonsalves emphasized that CARICOM member states must collaborate to stem the flow of illegal guns into the region.
It would be wonderful if they could control it better internally. But I don't believe in tooth fairies. So we have to talk about how do we control the movement between the United States and ourselves. The United States going to other countries in Latin America and indeed the Caribbean and then coming to us. Now, we have to have border control, effective border control, but it is very difficult given the number, we are islands, given the number of points where people can enter illegally. We certainly, there's a case and we have spent money on this to have better detection facilities at the port, seaports and airports. And it's important that persons who are involved in those activities, we have the equipment and we have the integrity of the individuals and the training. Because let's not fool ourselves. The guns come with cocaine and they come with trafficking in ganja. Thus far, I haven't seen fentanyl, but it will come. And all these things, and trafficking in persons, particularly not trafficking in persons in our part so much to work, but that is to say to work in usual production activities, but sex trafficking. And there's a lot of money in it, and that is the root cause of the criminal networks.
Prime Minister Gonsalves also expressed concern that despite some efforts, the United States is not allocating sufficient financial and human resources to assist the region in combating the illegal gun trade. He called for more meaningful support from the U.S. to help curb the trafficking of firearms into the Caribbean.
I know what the states, you have 50 states, and you have a lot of crime going on in those states. And they're concerned more about dealing with that than about us. I'm not starry-eyed about that. But I believe the federal government is interested, and it is, in recent times it has been showing a greater interest, but I want to see more resources put to it so that we don't do it on a shoestring as though it's a sideshow and you could tick the box and people could talk about it. You know, you understand what I mean? Yeah, because so we need to have that done properly.
The Prime Minister also noted that the small minority of young men involved in the gun trade and gun-related crimes do so by choice and not because of poverty, as often suggested. He highlighted the need to shift the narrative surrounding youth involvement in crime, pointing out that personal choices and not economic hardship are often the driving factors.
And we must stop saying that it's because people don't have jobs or the poor. You know that from the same family you will have somebody who is ending up as a university professor or a law-abiding worker in the hotel industry or in the state administration, or even sometimes becoming prosecutors. But others decide that they're going to go for guns and cocaine and trafficking in ganja and inhuman persons because they think money is there, easier to make. Well, the evidence is this, that you do that route, you either go to prison young or you die young, or both things. You go to jail and you die either in jail or when you come out. Those are the facts.
The gun intelligence workshop will conclude on Thursday. The police have seized 14 guns and more than 100 rounds of ammunition, in addition to the firearms turned in during the 91-day gun amnesty. Public Relations Officer with the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force, SOP Junior Simmons, at a news conference on Monday, stated that the police have been doing a great job in removing illegal firearms from the streets.
These firearms on the table here, we have 14 illegal firearms and 121 rounds of ammunition. They were seized as a result of robust operations by our policing units. And today we want to congratulate and commend those officers, especially those from the Rapid Response Unit, the Special Services Unit, and other law enforcement officials who participated in these operations. They were very tedious operations. No lives were lost. They could have been hurt, but they were steadfast in their roles and duties. Hence, today there are 14 less illegal firearms on the streets.
SOP Simmons added that the effort to remove guns from the streets will continue rigorously into 2025, with the police maintaining a strong focus on curbing gun violence.
And these firearms, if they were still out there, could have caused serious collateral damage to people in St. Vincent and Grenadines, loss of lives. So we want to ensure that we continue this operation, taking illegal firearms off the streets of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We'll continue in the new year, God willing, more fortified, more strategic in our operations, because we must ensure that St. Vincent and the Grenadines remains one of the safest places in the Caribbean and in the world.
Marian House and the international network of NGOs have expressed deep concern about the rising levels of crime among young people in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. In recent weeks, the country has witnessed a troubling spike in homicides and youth-on-youth crimes, prompting calls for immediate action. In an interview with SVG-TV News, Jeannie Olivier, director of Marian House, emphasized the need to address the root causes of youth violence. She stated that the energy and potential of young people must be harnessed and redirected toward more positive and productive outlets.
I, Jeannie Olivier, Secretary to the 30 members network of NGOs, call on the Youth Department within the Ministry of National Mobilization as as well as the Gender Affairs Division, to develop and institute a program based on the challenges that young people are facing in our country. We have to speak, we must speak with them and go into the communities on a regular basis and meet with the young people, help them to harness their energies positively.
Olivier also called on the relevant authorities, including the Ministry of National Mobilization, along with other stakeholders, to take proactive steps in educating and guiding the nation's youth.
I call on the Ministry of National Mobilization, particularly the Gender Affairs Division, the Youth Affairs Division, and the Community Division, if they are still alive and functioning, to get out there, mobilize our young people, our young men, and our young girls. Speak with them about the challenges that they experience. We cannot sit in our offices and decide on the challenges that are facing the youths. We have to speak with them. I call on these agencies, the network of NGOs, the Social Workers Association, Marion House, and the Human Rights Association. We have no problem collaborating with you. Do not leave the young people alone. We have to harness their energies. And one way of harnessing the energies is to visit them on a regular basis through the youths, through the groups, youth women community. Visit them, discuss with them, agree with them on a strategy to be developed to address their challenges.
In addition to the calls for government intervention, Olivier advocated for greater community involvement in addressing the challenges facing young people. She suggested that partnerships between schools, community organizations, and law enforcement could create a more comprehensive approach to tackling youth crime. Over the weekend, St. Vincent and the Grenadines was placed under flood watch, with several areas, including Canawan in the southern Grenadines, experiencing significant flooding. In a report on the damage caused, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves revealed that hundreds of houses have been damaged due to the heavy rains, which were unrelated to Hurricane Beryl. He noted that in Canawan, reports indicated that several government buildings were also damaged by the severe weather.
Since Beryl, there are a few hundred which have been damaged or destroyed in the recent rains now. I got a report this morning, for instance. You know that there was a flood in Canawan yesterday. Imagine that, a flood. I've gotten an oral report from former Permanent Secretary Pompey, Godfred Pompey, who has Canawan connections and whom we have working as a link between ourselves and the important group Gumbalimbo. Houses have been damaged, and there's been some damage to some state infrastructure and some flooding, like for instance the police station. I don't know if anything happened to the bank. We'll have to get the report tomorrow from the bank. One or two other places, the airport was closed because a lot of debris there had to be cleared up. I was hoping to see if I could get to Canawan this afternoon. But there's a work in progress.
On social media, videos from Canawan show landslides and widespread flooding, highlighting the extent of the damage in the affected areas. Road safety is not only the responsibility of law enforcement officers, but also the responsibility of every individual. This was emphasized during last evening's Police on the Beat program, which focused on the urgent topic of road safety. This month has seen a concerning spike in motor vehicle accidents, with 2 fatalities recorded just last Friday. Sergeant of Police Kenny Jones, who appeared on the program, highlighted why road safety must always be a priority. He explained that it is crucial for both drivers and pedestrians to stay alert and aware of their surroundings at all times.
Well, as the SP mentioned before, road safety is really to ensure that persons who are traveling the road, that is motorists and pedestrians, that they do so in a safe manner. And what we've seen, and what is so important is because when there's an accident, or when an accident or a motor vehicle collision occurs on the road, it puts a lot of stakeholders, put a strain on a lot of the government stakeholders. That's the police, sometimes the fire service, the healthcare on a whole is being impacted by these collisions because there are sometimes injuries and serious injuries, and sometimes the fire service has to respond maybe to extricate someone from a motor vehicle, maybe to out a fire that was caused by a collision, and then this person has to be transported to the hospital, and then it puts the entire healthcare system under strain.
Sergeant Jones also pointed out that road hazards such as poorly lit streets, uneven road surfaces, and inclement weather must be considered as part of road safety awareness. He stressed the need for drivers to adjust their speed and behavior according to these conditions to minimize the risk of accidents.
Well, I believe one of the major concerns is the speed at which some persons drive on the road. One of the other concerns is that persons tend to be very, very fatigued from maybe walking late or even consuming too much alcohol. So I believe that the thing is that 98% of road collisions are as a result of human error.
Yes.
Understand? So persons always need to remind themselves that if I'm too tired, I need to get somebody to drive my vehicle. If I consume too much alcohol, I need to ensure that I have a designated driver. So these are some of the concerns, and the excessive music that creates a hype on not just the motor omnibus, as we know how they operate, but also some private vehicles. Persons put in these large sound system and they play music, and sometimes it drives them to want to start to speed the motor vehicle. Right? So these are really some of the major concerns that I believe result in collisions. And we see persons now turning to the cell phone. I've seen drivers rounding corners, and all of their focus is actually in their cell phone. You understand? So persons need to be reminded of the fact that these practices, right, are things that could cause serious accident and serious harm to persons that are using the road.
Meanwhile, at a news conference on Monday, Commissioner of Police Enville Williams appealed to drivers to exercise greater caution on the roads.
I'm not saying that the fatalities over the week on Friday were caused by excessive speed, but I want to address the issue of the way we use our roads, the way we traverse on our streets as passengers and as bus owners and drivers, and our drivers generally. And say to drivers, slow down a bit, be cautious. There are a lot more vehicles on the road now than when I joined the police force. And I think we are in more of a hurry to get where we're going on the same small roads with more vehicles. I want to really appeal to the drivers to be cautious, to be thoughtful, and be kind on the way we use the roads.
The commissioner specifically singled out van drivers, urging them to put an end to reckless driving, which has become a growing concern in recent weeks.
I also want to specifically address the bus drivers, because it seems that bus drivers figure that they're on some racetrack somewhere. Guys, slow down. Take it easy. Life is too short. We can't continue to be this reckless on the road, and the police will continue to do what we can do, or what we ought to do, to bring perpetrators to justice. I want to express on my own behalf and that of the police force our sincere condolences to the family of those who lost their lives in the two fatalities on Friday, and wish their families God's continuous grace.
The 9 nights of lights at the Botanical Gardens lit up the evening as thousands of lights transformed the garden into a breathtaking breathtaking display of festive cheer. The opening night, which featured a variety of on-stage events, was especially enjoyed by families, with many children participating in the evening's activities. Gideon Nash, chairman of the National Parks, Rivers and Beaches Authority, spoke about the growing significance of the event, noting that it has now become a major part of the festive season in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Gathered to witness the transformation of this historic garden into a radiant wonderland illuminated by dazzling brilliance of thousands of lights. This event, much like our beloved 9 Mornings Festival, has become a hallmark of Vincentian culture. Together, these two signature events embody the heart and soul of our nation, blending tradition, creativity, and community spirit in ways that captivate both local and visitors alike.
Chairman Nash also acknowledged the challenges faced in organizing the event, but assured the public that despite these obstacles, the team was able to successfully bring the event to life.
This event highlights the extraordinary synergy between culture and nature, showcasing the possibilities of sustainable growth within our tourism sector. However, the journey to this moment has not been without its challenges. And I dare say that Beryl, which Hurricane Beryl will hit us in July, played a significant role and challenge that we are facing with regards to lights tonight. In the aftermath of Beryl, the National Parks, Rivers and Beaches Authority faced the daunting task of restoring many of our treasured sites.
Throughout the 9 nights, a variety of activities are scheduled to take place each evening. Tonight's event will feature karaoke night, a new addition to the festivities at the Botanical Gardens, offering visitors the chance to enjoy live performances and sing along to their favorite songs.